Here is a look at how we ended the week. Tesla down 3.68%, Oracle down 1.86%, AVGO down 1.73%, Nvidia not too bad, Microsoft not too bad at 0.06%. The sector that did hold up was the consumer defensive, Walmart up 0.90, Costco down 0.09, but Target up 2.34%, Dollar General up 3.42, and Dollar Tree 3.70. Now that's a look at the heat map. It is now time for my 102nd Gap and Go for the week of November 10th through the 14th. I will go over price targets on the 5-minute time frame, have a gap recap from November 3rd through the 7th, and update the chart as well. Hi everyone, it's Dow on the Dow. First up is Rivn, the only ticker in green and barely up by a scotch, 0.07%. This is where we ended. To the north side takes us to the middle of the trend and the baseline. That is now $15.60. I'm going to delete this line above it, which I marked out, weeks and weeks and weeks ago. Let's just remove that so we can see this just a little bit better. I don't need any of these horizontal lines. They're just past support and resistance from 2024 and 2025 in yellow. 2 standard deviations where price stays within 2 and -2 all day long, and the calculations change so that you don't have to do anything when you're trading the linear regression. All right, 1717, 1794, and at a later date, $18.70. Hopefully we will get to this range because we are nearing the 52-week high of 1715. Now, to the downside, 1407, 1328, another level of support, as well as 1254. This is also an area to set a stop loss, stop loss, stop loss. And for others, it would be a potential buy-in for a pullback. This is an expected move to the downside. That will take us to $12.54. That is one level of support as well. And note, we got to 2 standard deviations just grinding along the line. And of course, there's going to be a pullback because that is resistance. People are going to take their profits and they're going to run. They're going to lock in and leave, especially the fear. The VIX is high. People are nervous and they want to lock in those gains. And you can see that that happened right here. And this corresponds to the RSI, right? And then we had this grinding along for weeks after going down. And you know, when we see this, one of 2 things is going to happen. It's either going to rip or it's going to tank. And because we went down, we went sideways, and then we just reversed back to this level because we are trying to get to this 52-week high. So fingers crossed that we can do it this week. Oh, and support here for the potential buy-in, as I mentioned. And then we've got another gap to the downside at 1139. And are there gaps below that? I don't have any marked out, so that might be the only one, but I will have to double check that again. Because sometimes I look at it and then I don't see it. And then I see it at a later date. All right, Boeing is the next one. Let me just move that down 0.96%, almost 1%. We are at 194.60. Resistance, let me move this over, takes us to this line. That is now 195.82. That is an area where I will see a potential pullback for then maybe another leg up, because that right here will be one ceiling area. And then above that, this gap, which opened up on Friday, November 7th, is still in play. That will take us to roughly 196.41. Another level of resistance, potential take profit area, sell limit order. That's what I do because I'm always in bed when this happens because I don't watch the market right as it opens. Sometimes I try to, but I don't hit it often. 196.93-ish, and then resistance areas I've already marked out previously. 198.16. Looking left, well, you can see exactly where the fallback is going to be, and right here, the wicks typically will take you there, and then it will sell off. This is, support on the way down. Support we just bled through, bounced off of a line I drew, went up to resistance, and then to this middle of the trend line where price slices through to get to the upside or to the downside. This is the resting place. If you look at this, you can think of this as a freeway. You want to stay along this line where price generally stays, and this is the barricade where you don't want to go outside. So if you go outside, your radar should go off. There's something going to happen, and it happened here, and then it gave it up. And then support. Many levels of support and resistance in between. Turn on your Fibonacci's, draw your trend lines, do your patterns. Dead cat bounce off of a house. I don't know what it is. I don't play it that way. I don't look at it. I don't care. I keep it very simple. All right, resistance all right here, and then we went for another leg up and then fell down. And this gap, which was so tiny, but I marked it out anyway, that is the power of the gap. It took us down here. Oops. Command Z to undo on an Apple. I have a Mac Pro book. I don't know. So it's going to be different for different computers, but just know that Command Z or something like that, maybe Alt Z for you. All right, so we gapped up, and I knew it was going to fall. So if you went short from here to here, congrats. So that took us down to 201.43, but we continued to bleed out. All right, next up. Oh, that's the buy-in. That's a buy-in. Buy-in, as I mentioned. Oh, we gapped down, so this is going to reverse to the upside, and that needs to be changed. I've done this so many times, I can tell that I did not go back and change the color because I had changed it previously to do something else. And then we have another gap, many things to look forward to the upside, but right now we are in a downward channel on the 5, and I need to clean this up. That closed right here on Wednesday the 29th, taking us down to 213.28. Congrats if you went short. I really would like to trade with someone who does options where I could tell them where to go short and go long. And I think that would be fun. All right, so this closed, all right, to the downside at 217.94, started at 218.51. Okay, that took us down to 221.39, and we have a gap all the way to 223.34. Not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close. Something to be aware of. And then, oh, what did I never cleaned this up, but why? Oh, there we go. Yeah, I did. It just didn't populate yet. So we have all these gaps that I already talked about, and it came true. Thursday, October 30th, taking us down to 202.79. I put 81 here because I didn't change it. And when did that begin? My goodness, look at how many weeks it took. You're like, yeah, it's rocket and rolling. There's euphoria, but you got to look forward too. to see where these things could close and take your account down, wipe you out. So that started at 204.41, close out at roughly 202.79. Delete, 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 delete. And I'm missing, am I missing? Oh no, that just looks weird. Okay. Yeah, that looks weird because the spacing looked off. Okay, that looks better. All right, we have a gap that took us down to 199.21. All right, that is done. 199.21, no longer in play, no longer a threat to our account. Okay, it started at 240 cents. Delete. And that gap opened up on June 26th, and now it is November 8th. That's how long it took. June, July, August, September, October. And then, yeah, November now. Okay, you got to be patient. The market rewards those who are impatient. Or not impatient, patient. All right. And why do I have this here? That closed out at 217.75. So congrats, I just forgot to delete this. All right, I think everything looks chummy here. But this gap will take us down to 183.09. So watch out for this landmine to the south side. And it could conservatively take until Friday, November 14th. But, you know, you're going to have to work for it. It's the wicks that will take us down there if we get there. All right, I need to move on. Nike. Come on. There we go. Okay. Let's give you some price targets. After my big yawn. Okay. You know what? I forgot to tell you. So last week on the other ones, I should go back. Where? Okay. Last week, we were here. This week, look at the bleed out right here, very close to this line. But from here, oops, now I got to turn off the magnet. From here to the middle of the trend, well, actually to the price point where we are now, is down 7%. That's a lot from where I marked it. Okay. So now this is resistance. And then the next level, 62.38. I should just stop right there. Now, if we eke it out, which I don't know will happen, 62.96, and then perhaps at a future date, 63.49. That is the target. And then at the end of the week, that could go down to 58.22. Okay. 60.19, back to an area we've been, 59.60, and back to an area as well that we have been, 59.11. We've got this to worry about, taking us down to 58.33. Okay, and then this monster gap that was already an expected move. Okay, I've got a lot of things going on. Let me clean this up right here. This huge monstrosity closed on Monday, November the 3rd, down to 62.79, and it started up here at 69.32. So this one is still in play, but this one is done. Let me just make sure. Yeah. And that opened up on, why isn't it showing me? There we go. My computer is lagging today. My goodness. Friday, June 27th. This is how long this has been dangling, haunting us. Okay? It's the hantavirus. All right. 69.35. Done. Down to 62.79. 62.79. Or 17. I didn't. Wait, no, that 17 is still there. It's this one. 62.79. All right, this one's done. Finally. It's a gap sort of overlapping another gap, so it gets confusing with all these massive gaps. There, if I did that, you can see that better. See, we tickled it here, but we haven't finished. This is going to take us down to 58.38. I don't know when, but it will happen. Still in downward channel. All right, next. Tsly. Oh my gosh, I've been whipped around with this one, but that's okay. All right, let's talk about what happened here. Let me delete this because I was thinking about selling. Never happened. Okay, first, your price targets. $7.99 is where we ended. Now we're taking, oh wait, I need to mark something. Let's mark Friday the 7th. Okay. So as you can see, we're still in a downward channel. And to the north side takes us back to an area we've been. See this line? I've marked this out a lot. I can't even stretch it back, so forget it. I don't care. Let me just go forward. Dan Ives says that Tsly can go into the 800s, and I'll do Tsly at a different date and show it to you again, how we could reach that. Okay, so I'm going to delete these two lines. Oops, wrong line. Delete, delete, and then redraw one line just to make it clean. Okay, that's resistance. And then that's resistance, that's resistance. All these lines will be resistance. 827 is the target. And then after that, 840, and don't hold your breath. 852, not in the channel, not in the zone. But if we get to that level, it's going to be because of a wick. Support, 776 if we bleed out. 763, and then if we roll over and get stomped on, that is 751. I own Tsly, all these shares down here, different lots that I bought all the way down here. I'm hoping we don't bleed out that way, but that's okay. I never set a stop loss. I always tell my friends that I teach how to trade to set a stop loss. Don't do what I do. If you can't afford to lose the money, and this is just play, then you cannot do that. You must set a stop loss or you're going to get wrecked. Okay, support, buy-in, support, buy-in. This is resistance up here. You could play it conservatively from here to the middle of the trend, sell out. Wait for it to go back down. It may not to that level. You have to get in sooner sometimes. Or you could take it from here and then ride it up to the next red line. That's one strategy. Okay, so we have this gap. That is the target to the upside at 823. And then we have a target here at 859. And then we've got a target here. Okay, I've sold out many times. I got rid of some. Oh, I think I sold it for a penny more than I bought it just to get rid of it, because that's my interpretation of a stop loss. I get back to the area and I just get out. But I also did buy in and then sell at a 2.84% return here, a 2.4% return there, a 0.97% just to get rid of it. Let's see, what is this one? 0.98% to get rid of it. Yeah, you can see I did a return of 7.14% here, 5.19 here, 3.03%. And this does pay a dividend, and it's a weekly dividend. And I feel like I've owned this for so long that I do not get weekly dividends. I've got to verify that. But all right, I think the chart, I'll have to clean this up because look, this closed, that one closed. Yeah, it looks like a hot mess only because I've marked it out so much. But again, I don't need these lines. I do it because I want to demonstrate, to show you where we've been and where we could be heading, and then retracing to give it back to go up for another leg. All right. Neo, last one. Let me do this quickly. Hopefully my recording won't stop on me. That's happened multiple times. It annoys me. Okay, 686. Let's get you some price targets. The middle of the trend, baseline, very close to the one above it. So let's delete it. That was drawn out for the week of Monday, September 20 or October 27th. Delete. All right, last week, where we're right here, we didn't drop too much. Could have been worse. Okay, this gap takes us to roughly 713. Get in, get up, get out. That's one way to play it. 727, above that, don't hold your breath, 743 and 761. To the south side, stop loss, 659, 641, 624.